Hello once again, my friends, my fellow historians, my fellow modelers, and my fellow admirers of the battleship U.S.S. Massachusetts, BB-59. So this video, what I want to share with you guys is I've shown you a lot of the stuff from the souvenir pack from Battleship Cove, and I think the last thing I showed you was the pencil sharpener. Well, what I want to show you guys today is I want to show you guys a book on the Battleship Massachusetts. It's from the Naval History Special Edition Battleship U.S.S. Massachusetts by Vincent P. O'Hara. And it features this lovely lady right here. This, of course, is the NAVAL 1720 kit that came with the souvenir pack. So why don't I show you guys, without further ado, let's take a look at the book. Okay, so this is Naval History Special Edition Battleship Massachusetts, and this is by Vincent P. O'Hara. You can see a beautiful picture of the ship on the cover, and the ISBN number 13. Let's see, that's 17816847635. Let me show you the whole. There you go. So let's take a look in this awesome book. When we look at the inside, you can see another picture of the ship. This is an aerial view of the U.S.S. Massachusetts BB-59 at sea, U.S. Naval Institute Photo Archive. And you can see the author is Vincent P. O'Hara. The design is Kelly Oakes. Production, Susan Corrado. Editor, Eric Mills. And copy editor, Maura McCarthy. And let's see if this is the first edition. I can't really tell. 2020. I don't know if this is the first edition or not. Probably not. But you can see in the contents, let's see, a ship is born, the torch, to the Pacific, Operation Galvanic, raids and invasions, refit, we shall return, Asia, the home islands, and wrap up. And look at this beautiful picture as she's being brought into Battleship Cove. Bow with a view of the U.S.S. Massachusetts BB-59 as she moves beneath the Braga Bridge in Fall River, Massachusetts, with tugs on either side, June 12th of 1965, and that's when she was brought to the house, or her current home, actually. Now, I'm not going to read the whole book to you, but what I like to do is there are points of emphasis that I want to share with you guys. You can see this beautiful picture. A quick, brief introduction, and I think I just want to share a little bit of this with you. This is a biography of a battleship. The U.S.S. Massachusetts BB-59 was the third vessel in the South Dakota class. Her massive 16-inch guns were the first of their type to fire in anger during World War II. They also held the distinction of discharging the last 16-inch salvos of the war. Her shells fell on targets from Casablanca to Tokyo. Reflecting her great range and flexibility as a weapon system, she engaged as an enemy battleship and protected the most important American amphibious operation of the war. But she spent the majority of her career shepherding the fast carriers of the U.S. Navy from one strike to the next. From the landing operation to the next, in this role, she participated in most major operations of the Pacific War from mid-1943 on. She earned 11 battle stars, and her story is the story of the U.S. Navy's unprecedented triumph of World War II. This work is based mainly on the Massachusetts War Diary and the reports filed by her captain or executive officer after major actions. It is supplemented by the reports of the ship she protected, and, in certain cases, has been provided with the oral histories recorded by her crew members and preserved by the Battleship Cove Museum in Fall River, Massachusetts, where, incidentally, the historic ship continues her career as an ambassador of education and peace. Portions of articles or sections of books from the U.S. Navy Institute's Proceedings and Naval History magazines and from books published by the Naval Institute Press have been selectively incorporated as sidebars to further illustrate the Massachusetts career or give context to her actions. As this is a popular work, no attempt has been made to source the various quotes used throughout. With very few exceptions, they come from the sources mentioned above. So that is a brief introduction. And again, I'm not going to read you everything page by page, but I am going to point out the highlights of the book. Look at that awesome picture. The U.S.S. Massachusetts on the slip. The worker is seen looking down from the stern. 7 stories high, courtesy of the U.S. Navy. So, let's see. We got some more pictures. The Massachusetts being nudged alongside the fitting out by a 5 tug shortly after her launch. The new crewman practicing ammunition drills. And Captain Francis Whiting on the quarterdeck. Let's see, he was promoted to Rear Admiral shortly after the Massachusetts' successful deployment to Africa. The Massachusetts passing through the Four River Bridge in their first underway trials. The crew can be seen clustered topside, apparently appreciating the stately progress of their newest vessel. And she is the South Dakota design. South Dakota BB-57 outboard profile and overhead view. And we have some more of the plans now. Massachusetts inboard profile. You can see the armament. The MK6 16-inch turret. The range, okay, we'll take a look at this now. Look at the numbers. 1 is the rangefinder. 2 is the breech block, open. 3 is the chain rammer. 4 is the pan floor. 5 is the center projectile hoist. 6, the left projectile hoist. 7 is the roller path. 8 is the powder hoist. 9 is the powder car. 10, the electric deck. And 11, the elevating cylinder. Looking at the 5-inch guns now, you can see the basic characteristics. The training speed, 25 degrees per second. Elevation is 15 degrees a second. Maximum elevation is 85 degrees. The firing cycle is 3 seconds. Ammunition carried was 9,600 rounds or 480 rounds for the gun. And the shell weight is 53.85 pounds. Muzzle velocity is 2,600. And look at the range, 17,575. Looking at the bottom, you can see the 40 millimeter guns. And some of the characteristics, the U.S. service. So there's just a wealth of information for this, especially when we build the trumpeter model kit for this. We're going to use this as a lot of resources, as well as going to the ship. You can see the machinery, the diesel engine rooms, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The turbine in the back, the diesel generator, the evaporator, and the boiler. You can see another plan with the midship, the turret and barbette, and the conning tower. By the way, her horse shaft power is 135,000 horsepower. So let's, again, I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but I do want to show you points of interest and amazing facts about the ship, as well as some of these pictures. They're just amazing. So when it comes to the U.S.S. Massachusetts, as completed, she was launched on September 23rd of 1941. She was commissioned on March 20th of 1942 and went into operation in August of 1942. She's 680 feet 10 inches long, and her waterline length is just over 666 feet. Her maximum beam is 108 feet, and the mean draft is 28 feet 7 inches at 35,000 tons. Her maximum draft is at 36 feet 9 inches at 47,000 tons. So when she's light, she's 35,113 tons. With a battle load, she's 43,884 tons. And with a full load, she's 45,260 tons. She's got 9 16-inch 45 caliber Mark VI guns and 3 turrets. She's got 20 5-inch 38 caliber Mark 12 10 mounts. She's got 24 40 millimeter 56 caliber in 6 mounts, which would have been upgraded to 18 in December of 1944. She's got 35 20 millimeter 70 caliber in 35 mounts, and again upgraded to 38 by December of 1944. Her fuel oil is 6,876 tons. With diesel, it's 157.1 tons. Gasoline, 23.8 thousand tons. She had a top speed of 27.5 knots at 130 RPM. And the endurance, 17,000 Nm, 15 knots. You can see that beautiful picture of her. Again, different things, different points of interest that I had marked off that I had wanted to read to you. This is at Casablanca Harbor. Crowded with shipping, the photo shows the French destroyer Tempest with the patrol vessel alongside moored along the harbor's outer jetty. You can see some of the mapping of Casablanca. The French liner Prothis, hit by a 16-inch shell intended for the Jean Bart, is capsized at the dock. She has arrived in Casablanca earlier that morning carrying refugees from Dakar. Here's an interesting point I wanted to share with you guys. The Massachusetts was 28,000 yards northwest of El Hank when she took a 194 millimeter round fired by a battery that stuck opposite number 2 turret on the port side, penetrated a deck and detonated against the 5-second 5-inch thick protective deck gouging. It gouged an inch deep hole. The main deck planking caught fire, and the U.S.S. Massachusetts Memorial Committee provided the photo. How scary is that? Another beautiful picture of her. The view looking forward the ship's afterdeck during a lull in the Battle of Casablanca. Here's another beautiful shot of her. Massachusetts refueling 2 of her escorting destroyers. One of the great strengths of the U.S. Navy in the World War II is its ability to routinely refuel warships while underway. And looking at the range, you can see some of the ranges. The Massachusetts range was 15,000 nautical miles at 15 knots, or 10,610 nautical miles at 20 knots, and she could carry 6,959 tons of oil. She carried the Kingfisher landing, the seaplanes. This is a good shot of it. The Kingfisher landing. This image shows the plane crew arrangements with the wide separation between the pilot and a radio man. These are a lot of pictures. I recognize them because they're actually aboard the ship. So we got the bakery, and interesting, they actually have painted on a wall the recipe for biscuits. If you want to serve just a ton of men, like the flour and the salt and the lard and to make biscuits, it's actually painted on the wall. I'm going to see if I can find a picture for my records and I'll put that up. That was really cool. But you can see the chefs there making bread. You can see in the machine shop. And you can see the laundry. And then finally, let's see where the machine shop. Because I recognize these two pictures of actually being aboard ship. And the Massachusetts sunset is protected by an anti-torpedo net. This might be interesting. Look at all that devastation. Tarawa, after the landing. This photograph shows what a tremendous impact the sea and air bombardment could have on a target. And from raids and invasions, January through May of 1944, you can see that beautiful picture, the Massachusetts at anchor in solitary splendor. Two landing crafts are visible to her left. And looking aft, you can see the launch, and you can see the crane in the back. The process of recovering an SOC, the ship has made a hard turn to port, creating an area of relatively calm water. The aircraft is coming on fast to hook up with the crane. Let's see. This is a beautiful shot. The smoke and the flame emitting from a 16-inch gun salvo. What a spectacular sight it was. The concussion was also dangerous both to the firing ship herself and to her crew. Throughout the war, the damage the Massachusetts suffered from a blast of her own guns was far greater than the damage inflicted by enemy action. Isn't that amazing? So in 1944, she would go in for her refit. The Massachusetts at anchor, view from foredeck looking aft. In this beautiful picture. Fresh from the yard, the Massachusetts is underway at 15 knots off Point Wilson, Washington on July 10th of 1944. This is Rear Admiral G.B. Davis hoisting his flag on the Massachusetts on October 1st of 1944. Here he is inspecting a division. Note the dark trousers and caps on the crewmen. The bow of the Massachusetts pushing through green seas during the Pacific typhoon. Look at that. So we get to the wrap-up version of the book, or the section. Massachusetts underway at 6 knots in Puget Sound, Washington, after her final overhaul, which was January 22nd of 1946. And where she's laid up at Norfolk Naval Shipyard, Virginia. This is January 3rd of 1963. At the time, she had been stricken from the Navy Vessel Registry, or she was still awaiting preservation as a memorial. The U.S.S. Uvalde APA 88 is on its side. So, when it gets to Battleship Cove, you know what I was hoping that they would say? And again, there's so much information in this book. And I gave it a lot of thought, and again, all this stuff is, I remember from being aboard ship. So that's the beauty of this book. A lot of stuff, this stuff is actually there. You'll see some beautiful pictures of her. This is going to be a great reference when we build the model. Not this one, I'm referring to the trumpeter, the 1/350 scale one. And a lot of her detail we're going to get by actually being there on the ship. But this is going to be an invaluable source. You can see some of the other ships. The shipbuilders. Let's see, Russian and Soviet battleships. We got the Bismarck, the Torch, aircraft carrier Intrepid, and the U.S. Navy against the Axis. In the back you can see the Naval Legends stuff. So all in all, this is going to be a great resource. And let me show you guys what I'm talking about. It's not going to be this model we're going to do. It's going to be this model. So this is the Trumpeter 1/350 scale U.S.S. Massachusetts. So it's just a matter of time until we start doing this. I've got so many projects going on right now. Since I have her so close to you guys, here is my latest project. We're doing a Flying Dutchman, and she's going to be open where you can look in and you can see all of the workings of the inside of the ship and the lower decks. But this has taken so much of my time. I wanted to get this done. This is actually my Halloween build, and I started doing this a couple of days after 4th of July. So July 6th I started working on her, and the clock is ticking, and I want to have her finished for Halloween. But that's where most of my time has been going for right now. But we are going to do the Massachusetts. I want to do her the way she looks today, in port. I've got the benefit of having the ship close, so we can go down and I can actually videotape and photograph areas of the ship where I'm going to know for sure what it looks like, because we can actually go to her. But my friends, that's a different video. I wanted to show you guys the Book of Naval History, Special Edition by Vincent P. O'Hara. So my friends, I thank you so much for watching, and I hope you're enjoying this little tribute series that I have for this magnificent ship. And until my next video, my friends, I'll talk to you soon.